Monday morning. It rained yesterday, and I'm sure many people had a very restful night compared to the very hot and where we had heat through the night. But yesterday, I'm sure you had a great night because it was very cool. Welcome to the program this morning. This is Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM, your The Integrity Station. My name is Boyega Olani. Welcome this morning.
My name is Lola Meduteni. Good morning and thank you for joining us. It's a great week, the 14th of March. And we're glad to do this again and again and again with you on the other end of the radio. Remember that you can be a part of the program, go a step further by commenting on social media. We have WhatsApp 08175551067 throughout the duration of the program. We also have Facebook and Twitter where we are live on both platforms. On Twitter, you can find us on Twitter space at Splash FM 106.7 and join the conversation there. Also tweet at us. The hashtag to use is Panorama. On Facebook, it's Splash FM 106.7. What's the update with the fuel scarcity? I read reports from the newspapers that things are returning back to normal in some cities, but I don't know that I'd say that's the situation. But Boyega, when was the last time you bought fuel?
Last was it Friday? I think it was Friday.
And
I was on my way to work, and then I saw a particular fuel station selling, and just about 4 or 5 cars on the queue. And then I found out how much it was selling, and it was actually 165. So I just
it seems like the reports are true that things are returning back to normal.
I think more filling stations are having products, but I don't know if they are selling at the regular pump price. Some of them are selling at 200, 220, but I know that in the last few days we've seen more filling stations, having fuel dispensing, but
Right.
Of course we can't. But we don't know how much exactly.
Well, I'm
they're
sure
selling.
that, you who's listening will let us know what your experience regarding this is as we continue with the program. But hey, let's get started with our issue of the day.
Let's get started with our issue of the day now. Food security in any society hinges on two things: that food is available and accessible in adequate quantities for purchase by the people, and that food is affordable in terms of the cost of purchasing it. In the last 2 years, likely since the discovery of the coronavirus and subsequent lockdown that followed, food security in Nigeria has been highly volatile due to the global disruption in trade and its resultant impact on foreign exchange. While MBS figures show that inflation has marginally eased in some quarters, many commodities such as gas, vegetable oil, bread, etc., whose prices spiked as high as 200%, have stayed the same, in spite of increasing unemployment and a static wage.
Reports have it that over 14 million people are being affected by food crisis in the nation. And more warning gongs are being sounded as prominent businessman Aliko Dangote warns that Nigeria should expect an outbreak of food scarcity in the next 3 months as adverse consequences of the Russia-Ukraine war begin to come home to roost. Perhaps in a bid to combat the food crisis and shore up food sustainability in the country, the Federal Executive Council, FEC, has gone ahead to ban the direct sales of farm produce to foreigners. This means that foreigners will now be required to go through licensed local buying agents to access produce from farmers in the country.
For our issue of the day, we will examine this and what it means for the immediate future of the already embattled Nigerian. Well, we're expecting, hopefully he joins us very soon. Our guest this morning is a farmer and an agripreneur. And of course, who else to tell us if this decision by the Federal Executive Council to ban the direct sales of farm produce to foreigners, if it makes sense, and also look at surrounding issues as regards the prediction by Aliko Dangote that by June there will be a major food scarcity in the country. So I will be joined very soon by Mr. Shomefun. He's on his way now, but I'm certain that this is an issue that affects everyone. Beyond what is happening as regards cost of diesel, what's happening with the fuel scarcity as regards the core farming process, there also seem to be challenges in this regard as well.
Absolutely. And of course, as I said, you can be a part of this discussion by joining us on social media. And as said earlier, food scarcity, or rather food security, has been a rather touchy issue now these last couple of years or months even. It's been touch and go a lot of times. Sometimes it spikes, sometimes it comes down. With some staple commodities, things have returned back to, if not normal, semi-normal. I know that the price of gari at some point spiked very high, but it came back to, as I said, semi-normal eventually. And we're seeing, a lot of all these other commodities. But to some extent, there's been a sort of relative stability, even though it's not quite what it used to be pre-2019. But we've seen a sort of relative stability in the food sector. And now there are reports that things could return back to that stage again when food prices were spiking. One of those commodities that analysts have predicted that the price may go up even further is bread. And that is cause for concern because the price of bread as it is already barely affordable for many Nigerians. Bread has really gone up. The smallest loaf of bread that you can get is 120, and it's like literally probably maybe someone who is very hungry can eat it in 2 mouthfuls. It's so small. And so bread is one of those commodities that they're saying, okay, if this continues, it may go up even further as one of the multiplier effects of the Russia-Ukraine war, because bread is one of those commodities that relies on wheat, and Russia and Ukraine are among the top 5 producers of wheat globally. And of course, we're also seeing the federal government making moves like this ban of direct sale of produce from farmers to foreigners. And that may be, in the federal government thinking 2 steps ahead and saying, okay, let's look at how we can stop the price of food items from going up even further. I'm sure somewhere in this discussion we're going to talk about food imports, because that's always something that comes on when we discuss food security. But as soon as our agropreneur joins us, we'll be able to have this conversation in full detail.
And this move by the Federal Executive Council, part of the questions being asked is it the federal government being proactive in this regard, or is it just the federal government again reacting to an issue that is already knocking on our doors? Will the farmers, will they stand to gain more with this move by the federal government through the Federal Executive Council, or will these foreigners still find ways to sidestep some of these issues? There are even reports that some of these foreigners are even buying lands and, cultivating them themselves in order to get this raw material. So there are several questions that are begging for answers that we hope that our guest this morning will be able to make sense of it for us, because like I said when we started, the issue of agric and food security is one that concerns all of us, especially with several other with hardship in several other areas as well. And another report is even that farmers are saying that with the rising cost of diesel, it's also going to affect the prices of commodity, because it means that what is being spent to transport this produce from the farms to maybe the cities or the industries have maybe almost doubled because of the price of diesel. So that's also another concern as regards food security as well. So there are different indices, there are different factors that seem to point to a very not so good or a very bleak future, especially as regards food security in the country. And that's why a few days ago, Aliko Dangote even says that Nigeria should expect an outbreak of food scarcity. Initially, it was security affecting, but that seemed to be better now. A lot of farmers complained, especially during the farming season last year, about not being able to access their farms, not being able to go to the farms because of the state of security, kidnap, and what have you. But that seems to be better now, but we have new challenges, even fertilizers as well. It's also tied to Russia and Ukraine,
right,
in a way.
Some would say that these are issues that are global, that Nigeria is not the only country being hit. Just like with the petrol scarcity and the spike in the cost of PMS as well as diesel. But the difference is, as we said, Nigerians are already embattled. Nigerians are already, we're dealing with, as we said, a static wage. A lot of people are still earning the same as they were 2 years ago, despite the fact that funding their lifestyle costs more, significantly more than it used to 2 years ago. Some people have even been laid off, and all of these hits are coming from different quarters, despite the fact that it's global. In some of these other countries, they have funds or welfare packages that would help to cushion the effects on those, at the very bottom of the rung, the social rung. But here in Nigeria, we barely have such schemes, or they are not far-reaching. But part of the reason the Federal Executive Council gave for its approval on the ban of purchasing agricultural products by foreigners from farms is that these farmers are sometimes cheated in the purchase of these farm produce. That's what the Federal Executive Council gave. And so what it intends to do instead is to let these foreigners purchase it instead from certain licensed local buying agents. But we'll be looking at how this will affect the predicted rise in food scarcity.
And we have joining us to have this conversation farmer Ayokpo Shomefun. He joins us live in the studio this morning. He's a farmer and an agropreneur. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you too. Good morning to every of our listeners at home.
And I know you had quite a challenge getting here because of the Taushin access.
That's exactly.
Yes, but let's start by, before we look at the prediction by Aliko Dangote, let's start by looking at this move by the Federal Executive Council to ban the direct sales of farm produce to foreigners. Do you think this is a move that could help stem what the federal government, because the federal government is trying to say that farmers are cheated if, these foreigners buy directly from them? Do you think that is a solution to that challenge?
Thank you very much. Yes, farmers are cheated, but the federal government has taken the wrong step. And not only the wrong step, they need to retrace the step they are taking. If farmers are cheated, the federal government from the start of production has not been helpful to farmer. And no matter how even the farmer are cheated, the farmer feel more protected by somebody trying to pick up his produce than federal government making a law that will not see the light of the day. They did not prepare. Apart from the fact that they did not prepare, the law does not have the basic local standing to survive a singular day of its implementation. One, if you say somebody is a local licensed person to buy, what does it mean by his local? It's a Nigerian register. It's something against the insult of those people you call foreigner. One, before you can be a foreigner and practicing either buying and selling or doing anything in Nigeria, you'll have first obtained visa to be here, you'll have been paying tax, you'll have gotten a resident permit, which are basic fundamental rights that allows you to do business. Now restricting them from doing business here is like insulting their intelligence and the possibility of them making a legal means of livelihood in the country. The federal government got it wrong at all. These same people that you are told now that you can't buy, we go through Nigerian. They go and register Nigerians, and Nigeria will go and buy for them, and you just require that the law does not see the light of the day. If I'm a foreigner in a country, and you're not saying I cannot buy, I will recruit a Nigerian to go and do the buying for me, who get the license. And I can tell you that from the day they made the law, the people who made the law with the vice president will have secured all the licenses for their cronies. And so it will not see the light of the day. There will never be a change in the lives of farmers by this kind of policy.
Is price control a good enough reason for the Federal Executive Council to come up with this measure? That the fact that the prices that the foreigners are buying it is cheating the farmers at the expense of the farmers. Is price control a good? Is that an issue in itself? Yes, when foreigners buy from farmers.
Before you say price control and before you work, the word cheating is a relative word. we have different costs of production in Nigeria. We are high farm. Before the diesel price goes up, we used to plow an acre for 10,000 naira. While we are plowing an acre for 10,000 naira, in Funab, an hectare, which is 2.5 acres, they plow the same thing 10,000 naira. So the cost at which we do things varies over a wide range of gap. So the cost at which we will end up producing, for example, it costs about 17 naira in Abeokuta to feed one chicken a day.
17 or 70?
17 naira to feed one chicken a day. Now the cost of feeding one chicken a day is about 20 naira now. So when you now take the cost in Abeokuta, you cannot compare the cost in Abeokuta. The cost in Port Harcourt to feed a chicken is about 30 naira. So meaning that the price at which I'm going to sell in Abeokuta is going to be different from the price I'm going to sell at Port Harcourt. You understand?
Right.
So because our cost system is so poor, the federal government first have to go back to the cost system. How do you bring costs to be averagely relative?
Uniform.
It will never be uniform. Relative unity, because why it will never be uniform is that there are basic things that is dependent on the farmer. I use what we call initial contract worker. Before, we used to pay them 150, 200. Now they take an Okada. The last Okada I bought at Itoku was 375,000. And that's what I would give to someone. Some people will employ a labor of 25,000 per month. Some will employ. So the cost varies. So because the cost varies, it's going to be part of what you now add up. Then the yield we are getting in crops and animals varies as well. So price is a function of cost and return. And your return cannot be made unless you know the yield. If I have so much yield, my cost will go down. But if I have a poor yield, my cost will go up. And at the end of the day, because agricultural goods are inelastic, what do you mean by inelastic? Their price varies with season, and that the demand and the supply varies also with season. Presently, you see cashew everywhere, you see mango everywhere. In the next 2 months, you won't see cashew anywhere again. So meaning that the cost of cashew will go up when it is no longer available because of its fluctuation in pricing. So the federal government should just forget about this law, go back to board, and create what they call the old marketing board. Marketing board will now function from state to state. The marketing board that will be controlling Ogun State with such bid that they will factor Yewa as a place where labor is cheap compared to Ijebu where labor is very high. So they will now come into the middle. Okay, what is the cost in Abeokuta for labor? So what is the cost for input in Abeokuta? What is the cost for Yewa? What is the cost? Meanwhile, both Yewa and Ijebu are at variance in climate and weather. Yewa is savanna, Ijebu is rainforest, and from meaning that they will have more rain in Ijebu than they will have in Yewa. So a lot of things needs to first come into place. So it's not the duty of federal government to control the cheating of farmers. The duty rests in the state and the local government.
But do you really think that farmers are being cheated? Because I know that in your opening statement, you talked about how farmers are even happy that there's someone to even take these products off their hands. So do you really think that farmers are being cheated?
Yes and no. I said cheating is a relative word. If it doesn't pay you, you won't sell. But the fact that what you call cheating or cheat is a function of an economic term. To me, somebody buy oranges from me and he used a capsule to buy 150,000 worth of orange from me, and he went to go and make a juice and he sells the juice for 1.5 million. He has added value. The person coming to pick in the farm is coming with transportation. It's bringing cash to you. It's preventing you from having a risk of going to the looking for transport. In Obada DME, in Obada DME, Anigbado, Olorunda, Axis of Abeokuta to Igbora, we suffer looking for transport. Somebody now comes around with transport, decided to pick, we will have factored all those things into it. So cheating is a relative word depending on what you are looking at. But if somebody is picking from you and adding value, he has not cheated you. Why don't you create a means whereby farmer can add value to what they produce? And when you add value, you get a better result.
Well, what you're saying, I mean, your criticism of the federal government's policy, that's the FEX policy, is at variance with what the All Farmers Association of Nigeria is saying. They are commending the federal government for its ban on foreigners' direct purchase of agricultural produce, saying that the government's position has been the desire of the association over the years. They also went further to say that the ban would help to solve myriads of issues affecting food sufficiency in the country, as well as block wastages of resources and which contributes to losses faced by farmers. I mean, there are those who say that we're barely producing enough for ourselves, to meet our own needs, and you see, farmers still selling to foreigners. So why do you think it is that the All Farmers Association of Nigeria is commending a policy that you were saying is not well thought out?
Okay, quote me. My name is Farmer Yoko Shume from Abekuta. The person who made that statement on behalf of all farmers is being political.
Why do you say so?
Yeah. Like I told you, I have somebody buying pox from me. His name is Shang Wu. He's a Chinese man. You want to restrict Shang Wu from buying from me. Shang Wu will go to one of his staff, Muhyiddin Omalabake, to obtain the same license and to buy the same thing. So it's just a political statement being made by that particular all farmer. It doesn't have any correlation with whether you can't stop somebody who has gotten a work permit from doing a legal business, a legitimate business. That's number one. The other part of it is this. I don't know why people are getting distorted mentally. I have a farm and I have a company in Abekuta along Shagamu Interchange. They go into Nasarawa and Samfara, despite how tough Samfara is. They went as far as Kaura Namuda to grow over 5,000 hectares of soybean. They will not transport their soybean back to Abekuta. They produce soybean oil, they produce soybean cake and export legitimately. Do you want to stop them from exporting? If you export, you bring more foreign exchange. One of the reasons why our dollar, our naira is falling is because lack of influx of foreign exchange. Somebody is now producing strictly for export, taking no step to meet up standard. You are not saying that person is talking is not helping food sufficiency. I'm not compelled to sell to local people. And if I okay, let's assume I sell to local people. We have over 5 million Nigerians in UK. Where would they get yam to eat? Where would they get a wedu to eat? I traveled recently. I just came back a few days ago. I had Iyon with one professor. I won't mention, We had Iyon, the pounded yam with a goosey soup that was given was about 50 euro. And we were happy eating it. Because for days we have been eating pizza, this, that. So who is going to take care of this in the diaspora? We must produce for local consumption and for export. Both balance the economy.
But in the case where local production is not enough to meet
it doesn't
local
have to
needs,
be enough. It will never be enough. And why it is not be enough is this. Our population is growing at 2.55% according to the federal government, while food production is growing at 1.33%. Can we meet up?
So you don't think we can meet up even if we channel what we're already selling outside?
If we
bring
stop,
it inwards.
Our local production of wheat as at 2021 is 900,000 metric tons. We are consuming annually 5 million metric tons. Can we stop local production from exporting? If somebody says, "Oh, I want to export to other country," you cannot stop such a person. There is no even restriction saying that my produce should be sold locally. You don't have the right to stop me. I may choose to grow for export. So the problem we are having is that the federal government, the all farmers, they are just playing serious politics. Our production right now is far below what we used to do in 1980. In 1960. In 1960, our export was about 8.8% of our GDP. Now our export is just 8.2% of our GDP, meaning that we have declined beyond what we were doing in 1960 because of the blow in population, the increase in population. So they first have to realize that local production. Last year we were selling agbado 50 now. Quote me, we'll buy agbado in the next 2 months, 100 naira per cup. Why? Not because production is low. Even if production is increasing, the people demanding for agbado, like the one they roast at the gutter, the one that goes into tuwo, the one that goes to Nigerian biri, the one that goes into cornflakes, the one that goes into feed, are increasing in demand. We now have 22 million birds feeding every day. Last year we had about 10 million metric tons of maize produced as a country, and they were Emefiele is clapping hand. Divide 10 million metric tons. Don't produce tuwo, don't produce agbado, don't produce langbe, don't even give to conflict. Give everything to the layers we have in Nigeria. They will feed the whole 10 million metric tons in 99 days, because one chicken will take like 56 grams of maize every day. So we are not having sufficiency. They were supposed to just ignore this kind of stupid thing they were saying. They were supposed to go back, how do we increase production? If there is a lockdown declared in Abeokuta, Ogun State, and the whole Nigeria today, all of us listening to me does not have food to eat for the rest of this month, meaning that we are not secured for the rest of this month, not to talk of
the rest of the year.
The rest of the year. And when you say famine, it means if you want to be out of famine, you must have food for 7 seasons, which means the next 7 years. Do we have food? Let them lock us here. Do we have food to eat by weekend in our house? So that's telling you that there is an issue.
Aside from this particular issue, Aliko Dangote also talked about the fact that there will be an outbreak of food scarcity in the next 3 months. Is that such a dire prediction, or that is the state of things? You are a farmer, you are an agropreneur.
Aliko Dangote, God bless you for what you have said. I happen to be a follower of Dangote when he started the fertilizer plant. And I want our listeners, especially the federal government that is not doing the right thing, to please listen and take the right step. The war in Ukraine and Russia concerns us more in terms of economy. Dangote is getting all his urea, potash, and phosphate from Russia to produce fertilizer. Fertilizer in Abeokuta sells for 17,000 now. Dangote cannot go to Russia to get urea, potash, and phosphate. So what happened? And Dangote is feeding Nigeria with fertilizer. What happened? They will have to stop production. So the little fertilizer in the country will now go for like 30,000, 35,000. And you need 8 bags for 1 hectare of maize. So meaning that fertilizer will go from 17,000 to 40,000 within the next 3 months. Will that not be a problem? That's number one. Number two is this. Russia is number 1 wheat producer in the world, and Ukraine is number 5 wheat producer in the world. Both Russia and Ukraine combined together produce 1/3 of the wheat in the world. Now they are at war. Nobody is producing wheat. The northeast region of Nigeria that used to give us wheat that we are having 2 million metric tons have stopped producing. We depend, all our flour mills in Nigeria are owned by Americans. So even if we are producing 5 million metric tons that we need in Nigeria presently, we will depend on those foreigners who are taking over our flour mill, because they will not take our flour. They will still want us to be dependent on America. So those are the issues they were supposed to go and tackle. How do we indigenalize the milling of wheat? Because bread has caused revolution. In France, it caused revolution. In Egypt, it caused revolution. Very soon, you're going to see the surge in price of wheat. And also, because of that war going on, you will see people growing maize. I'm going to grow maize and sell abroad, because maize will become so scarce in the world market that the little one we are producing at home, I would prefer to sell abroad, because it will sell more, because they need maize.
There will be a global shortage of maize.
There is already a shortage. Russia depleted their foreign reserve last year during COVID by 4 years. They have a reserve for Moscow citizens for 40 million Moscow indigenous for 7 years. They have depleted by 4 years. They wrote us in Nigeria last year that they needed 100,000 hectares to grow food so that they can meet up. Now they are in war. So maize price is going to surge up. So there's going to be, Dangote has spoken patriotically. And I expect those, I don't want to call them any bad name, those people in government to bring Dangote, to bring the MD, Bola, MD of Flour Mill, Bola Olusoya, something like that, to bring these people together and ask them economic implication of those war. Just like I'm saying now, maize is going to increase, wheat is going to increase. There will be no fertilizer.
So you mentioned that you first sell your maize.
I'm not
abroad.
going to sell locally. I'm going to dry as well.
So
and make more money.
The question of patriotism now comes up.
Patriotism comes when you see what the government has even done for you as a citizen. I generate electricity in my house using my petrol. My roads are not tarred. To the farm, there was no incentive. Kidnappers still disturbing me. Last week, when I came back from abroad, my farm was still being ravaged by Fulani herdsmen. The government have banned open grazing, and yet they still graze about. So what patriotism are you talking about?
So profit comes first before patriotism for you?
My life comes first. What kind of relevancy has government done to make me patriotic? What has been the contribution of government to make me patriotic? I pay for drugs, I pay for everything by myself. Even we do community road clearing. So what has government done that I will not be patriotic? My self-esteem comes first. My self-satisfaction comes first before I can dig in. My that I'm forced an Abekuta. I'm forced an Ijeja digging before becoming an Abekuta. It's when I become Abekuta that I will not say, oh, I'm a citizen of Ogun State before Nigeria even comes in. So Nigeria is not even far. It's even far away. Abekuta is still paramount to me, and I want to make sure that I protect myself first, protect Abekuta before I even think of Nigeria.
All right. Well, you can comment on social media. We are live streaming on Facebook if you'd like to watch and comment. Facebook handle is Splash FM 106.7. On Twitter Space, we're there as well. If you want to comment on Twitter Space, just gesture and we'll open the channel so that you can say your thoughts. If you want to call via the phone lines, give us a few more minutes, but keep sending in your comments on social media. We're looking at the federal government's most recent policy in agriculture, where they banned the direct purchase of agricultural produce by foreigners and what the impact is. How sound is this new policy? It's in light of the looming scarcity being predicted by analysts and stakeholders in the agricultural sector, such as, prominent businessman Aliko Dangote, who has said that one of the adverse effects of the Russia-Ukraine war is that Nigeria may be expecting a food crisis in the next few months. And as we said at the beginning, things are hard enough already. We've seen the prices of many food items go up in the last few years, the last 2 years really. And some of these food items have still not gone back to what they were before. And this is in spite of the fact that the purchasing power of Nigerians have been mostly depleted, as many people are still earning what they were earning 2 years ago, despite the spike in the cost of goods. Now, regarding this Russia-Ukraine war and its effect on us, how can we curb it? I mean, if we act fast now and decide, okay, to start to make moves, what can we do in the short term to, if not completely, eliminate the impact, but at least reduce it? I know that India is one of those countries that perhaps refused to cut off relations with Russia due to its dependence on Russia for certain commodities. Is that a step or something we could possibly explore?
Yeah, I happen to be, like I said, I'm first at Abekuta, Ijeja, Abekuta, Ogun State before becoming in Nigeria. Now, so when you look at India, it's one of the countries I cherish so much. I've not been there. I'm going to be there very soon because they were colonized like us, but they refused to pick hook, line, and sinker what the British brought to them. When you see an Indian man on the road, you know it's an Indian because they will dress like an Indian. It's here you see a Nigerian abandoning his culture, his religion. So, Indians supply milk to Russia, and they are the largest milk producer. And Russia in itself give them wheat and maize. That is where you hear a place called Kashmir region being in war all the time because of food, nothing more. Indian is so populous and they need food. Now, the rain has just started. 3 months, 4 months, maize will be ready. 4 months, 5 months, wheat will be ready. Federal government should empower state government to go and grow wheat. We can grow wheat in Abekuta. Wheat grows in Imala. I've seen wheat in Imala. I've seen wheat grown in Imeko. That axis, we can have about 1 million hectares of land. Displace the few people who are in those cluster villages. The Meko population is less than probably 300,000. We can provide conducive environment for 300,000 people, take over those farms, use it as grain reserve. We used to have forest reserve. Grain reserve, whereby we can quickly grow. We still have opportunity to grow maize 3 times this year if we are serious. And we can still grow wheat 2 times this year if we are serious. Go towards the savannah, that is Igbora. Going towards Hayete, Igono, up to Ilesha Bariba, Shaki. Let us go and grow both maize and wheat if we want to be out of the problem. If we cannot do that now, because we cannot do it in the northeast where we grow before, if we cannot do that now, then it means we are not learning lesson. The only thing we need to do is create a reserve where we can grow in massive. And they should stop saying there are farmers anywhere. If you want to know farmers, go through the local government and go through the extension agent. The extension agent know where the farmer is. You will not see a serious farmer coming to government. They don't have time. They are always in the farm. Anybody who tells you it's a farmer is already in his place of work. He will never have time to go. So we need to have an opportunity to quickly, aggressively go grow maize now. So whatever we have for food consumption, they should quickly diverse as seed and let's quickly grow. And within the next 5 months, we'll be meeting up some of the shortages. But for the next 5 years, we cannot meet up the shortages because our population keeps growing and we will soon overtake Brazil to be the 4th largest nation by 2025.
All right, let's get to the phone lines now. We were hoping that Farmer Shomefun will maybe allay affairs a bit, but seem to have made it even look more gloomy. But let's get to the phone lines now. Let's get your thoughts. 0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067 0817 555 1067 0705 050 1067 is another line through which you can reach us. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Afalabi is my name. I'm calling from Abeokuta.
Afalabi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, dear farmer. Yes, you really spoke very well. And I like your two ideas. What is patriotism in Nigeria? I don't think there is anything for patriotism in Nigeria. Because everybody is there to talk for himself and his family. So you must take your own family yourself first. So that is what I do as well, because I've lost hope in this country. Now, I want to tell you that Nigeria is not proactive. Nigeria is reactive. Yes, we are just reactive. If we are proactive, the farmland that can cultivate rice in this country, what is the government doing about this land? Like the resource person, the farmer in the house said, there are some areas in this country where we can grow, where we can also have them in commercial countries. What has the government done? It is the usual bull and cock story. It is the usual bull and cock story. They can never do things that are right for all. Like I used to say, they will never do it. And they want us to be good citizens. They want us to be patriotic. Now, when we now enter into a food crisis, they will now know that Nigeria is very hungry. We need responsible people. Somebody like the man in the house, they will not call this kind of people to talk about how we can develop our agricultural sector. They will make everything of quality. Who support you? Who support you to benefit?
All right.
I don't know. Now, I want to ask you, sir. As private individuals, what can we do to help our situation? Because our government is not responsible. What can we do as private individuals to help our situation?
Thank you. You react to that?
Yes, thank you very much.
Before you react to that, let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Radio station.
Good morning. Oh, Babari, good morning to you.
I really greet your resource person in the house. But I want to ask him this because he has some very good ideas, advice. So I want to ask him, how often do you approach the authorities concerned in agriculture? And give them your advice. Have you always been doing with your colleagues to give them some of this advice to follow? Have you ever done it and they refused, or you have not done it at all? So if you have not done it at all, I think I will advise to approach the men in the agricultural sector and give them this advice. So honestly, your advice very perfect. So that is why I'm asking the question.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll react to 2 questions like this. I'll react to the last caller first. I have been privileged to be advising the federal government of Nigeria since the days of Audu Egbe. And I'm privileged to be one of those people that flagged up in 2017 Nigerian export of yam to abroad. And I can still tell you that we are still exporting yam abroad in Nigeria. The 2 kg yam that you and I are buying at our market for 1,000 naira, just last week, Monday, I bought the same yam in Paris, €7. The same yam we are eating for 1,000 naira in Abeokuta. I bought it in Paris last week, Monday, €7. So I still talk to federal government. I still send email to them. I tweet them. I have their numbers. We spoke. Then Ogun State used to listen to me. Like I said, I just came back. I went on the personal invitation of the State Commissioner for Agri to attend an agricultural show for 10 days in Paris. It was his own invitation. I wasn't invited. And he did all officially possible that this guy needs to be at that event. And I went, and I saw a lot, and I went to places, I saw a lot, and I saw that, there are still people in the country who want a better one. So, but let's leave federal government. Let's just face Ogun State government. Ogun State has been doing well, but because of the negligence and the neglect of the past, it will not show. But if this government can have another term and consistently put in a farmer as commissioner, then you will see more impact coming up in the state. They are listening in Ogun State to us. That's one. I'm not campaigning, but I'm just telling you that they should consistently continue with this set of people so that they can make more meaningful impact. Then back to the previous caller.
Let's take this call first.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I am Matthew from Abeokuta.
Matthew, you have the floor. Please go on.
Yeah. Mr. Farmer, well done, sir. You are really making us proud in the agreement. So I just want to say that, like you've seen, our government has not been consistent. If we really want to make our agriculture grow, then the government must be intentional about it. We have the land. The road to our farm should be made in a way that we encourage farming. You can't imagine, in fact, it wasn't say you used to go to the farm when the conditions around us are not favorable. Nobody wants to go there. People in the farm are smoking. So until the government starts putting in the right people who really understand the implications of agriculture, not just people who maybe have the certificate, people who are this and who are doing it. Somebody like Ayokoto Shinichi, working with him for slow government and with some of other people like that. When our sector especially in the state, will grow. I will not just continue with what I'm taking right now. That will help us.
Amen. Thank you.
Farmer Matthew for calling to the program. Yes, what we can do as a private sector, like the first caller said, I'm a private farmer and I don't depend on government. Start growing something in your backyard. We are not Oyibo that eat flowers. All those empty jerry cans, you can use them to grow your yam. You can grow vegetables. Stop growing flowers. We don't eat flower. Use your environment to grow little. That's number one. Now I employ hunter with gun in my farm for protection against cow and kidnapper. As a private person, look for the local hunter who are licensed, the Hunters Club, and employ them and go out and grow. If you grow maize tomorrow, in 3 months, you will smile to the bank, because we are going to sell maize locally 100 naira. I'm not saying it. The pressure is now on ground. 1 cup of maize will go for 100 naira. So you better go and grow now.
Right.
Go
Speaking of maize, Aliko Dangote also asked the federal government to stop the export of maize to avoid the scarcity that is coming.
How will they stop exports when our borders are porous? They were not able to stop importation of rice because of our porous border. How would they be able to stop export? Do we have dedicated workers in custom that could be able to do that conveniently?
All right. The phone lines, you can also drop us comments, drop your comments on Facebook or on Twitter. We'll be glad to take your comments. If you're on Twitter space as well, if you would like to contribute, please signify. I will get to you.
On via the phone lines, the call lines are 0817 444 1067, 0704 400 1067, 0705 050 1067, and 0817 555 1067, which is also the number for WhatsApp. So send a comment to that number. On Twitter space, if you want to comment, just raise your hand or let us know, make a gesture, and we'll open the channel up for you so that you can send in your comments.
Let's get to Facebook now before we get back to the other calls. Adiniji Abdikafar Olawale said, good morning, Splash FM. The increase in agricultural input is increasing on a daily basis. Let me use poultry farmers as an example. 1 bag of feed is now 7,500 to 9,000 naira. That's almost 100% increase compared to last year. How will government be able to control the cost of input? Hello, good morning. Good morning, Nicholas. Go ahead, Nicholas. I can hear you.
Yeah. First of all, let us be very clear. There's nobody who is alive when the world becomes pathogen. Pathogen is more of a psychological fertilizer. We all humans, it's like we're in Ukraine or in Italy. In Russia, they are self-sufficient. They are a manufacturing power. And they supply half of fuel, oil, and gas. Nigeria is not at that level. There is nowhere in the north, from Sokoto down to Kaduna, that we cannot do it. But because we destroy the agricultural industry because of our mono-economic tendency. And let's be clear, there's nothing happening in Ukraine that has happened in Nigeria in the past 6 years. But the truth is that whether we like it or not, we are already in panic. There's no doubt about that. And until we fix our agricultural system, that's not going to be one. By that border, you know the one very well. The farmers also can't go to farm. In fact, there's a place they call Ikechu, almost in Kuala Road. A Katsina goat here is almost 40,000. But that goat in Katsina is just 3,000. But the bottleneck from the north to the west here, this is increased. We all know that chicken, irrespective of the species of chicken, the product is must consume about 9 kilograms every day. And sending the license of the farmer. But when we all eat chicken suya, we don't know what the farmer goes through and the hell they go through. We don't need to wait for that good thing.
All right.
They will not know that there's a crisis.
All right. Thank you, Nicholas, for your contribution. Let's get to the rest of the comments now. Shumefwe Olamiye said the policy made by federal government is barbaric. What makes a foreigner legitimately living in the country, having a residence permit and work permit as well? What laws in our country that will restrict his citizenship by registration not to transact business legitimately? How do we have foreign exchange? How can our GDP increase? Let's take this call as well. Hello, good morning.
Good morning again, Boyega. I have another question for your resource person.
All right, please go on. 30 seconds.
Mr. Farmer, why is it that both state and national government does not take it as a sort of policy to really develop silos, called preservation? Yes, having silos and mass so that by the time you harvest crops, you keep massively this crops inside those silos, even if there are eventual scarcity or there are problems, whether can always reach out to these silos and bring out these crops to feed the people, whereby people will not even know that there is, shortage of crops. Why is that?
All right.
Government
Briefly, I want to use this statement to embarrass the federal government. They did a rice pyramid, which was something we were doing before I was born. The era now is silos, big turbines everywhere. Late President Yaradua used over 20 billion naira to control silo. Rats are now living in the silo. And why? Local consumption is more than local production. That's number one. So there is nothing left you can put in silo. Then if you want to even keep in silo, there are basic requirements you need to do before you can put a crop in silo. The crop must be uniform. The maize I grow in my farm is different from the maize my neighbor is growing. It's different from the maize grown in the other local government. So when there is no uniformity in produce, what do you take to silo? So there has to be uniformity in production before you can have that quantity that you want to store. The maize we are yet to grow now, the chicken are waiting to consume. So the issue of silo does not even arise. Let's feed ourselves first.
There is a question or questions here. Susan Ezekai said, please, the great farmer, what can you say to some farming associations that extort their members for their own reach? And can you give us the names of genuine farmers association that we can join? But just react to this because we have to proceed on a commercial break now.
Yes, I am the chairman, sorghum grower, marketer, and expert association of Nigeria Ogun State branch. I have refused to allow those who are not growing sorghum to join me. If you are growing sorghum and you want to join that association, I first want to see your 1 hectare, 2 hectare sorghum. What do you call sorghum? Okababa. If you are not growing okababa, I won't bring it to the association. You cannot stop people from becoming a political farmer or a theory farmer because that is what they feed on. But if you are looking for a genuine farm association, I will tell you, go to Ministry of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and ask them, the permanent secretary or the commissioner, they can give you names. I don't want to give you any name of anyone that is genuine on here.
All right, I will proceed on the commercial break now, but would like to appreciate our guests.
Maybe ask him to.
Okay, maybe give us a few more minutes so that
we can answer the barrage of questions on social media.
So we'll be back after this time out. Our guests will respond to your questions, and then we'll proceed to the second segment of the show. Please stay with us. This is Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀ pàdé wọ́n ní ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ kárí ẹ̀ lórí ìgbọ̀ ọ̀tún pàápàá àǹfààní tó gbọ́mọ pọ̀ dáadáa ilẹ̀ oko mo lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ orílẹ̀ lùgùn ọlọ́run dá 25,000 ní plọ́ọ̀tì báyìí ẹ ra plọ́ọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ ẹ gba ìdajì sí i ó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ gba plọ́ọ̀tì kan sí i ilẹ̀ àgbẹ̀ kọ́bápẹ́ alábàtà ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 per plot bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ra plọ́ọ̀tì mẹ́ta ìdajì lẹ́gbà sí i ó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ ó gbòdìdì kan sí i àwọn onírà ti wà nílẹ̀ láti ra èrè oko yìí 39 NTA Road ọgbẹ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 08033706236 08033706236 ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀kọ̀ ìgbọ̀tún fáwọn àgbẹ̀. ogúnjọ́ oṣù kẹta tá a wà yìí láǹfààní yòókù.
Honey, must you go?
Baby, no, I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
bí a bá ṣe tán ìgbésẹ̀ lókù torí pé a kì í kálàṣe kò pé iṣẹ́ o àfi aláṣẹ tán lórí ìgbàgbọ́ tẹ́ ní sí iléeṣẹ́ aláṣẹrí class home and property limited ni wọ́n ṣe ní ilẹ̀ tí wọ́n ti wá dìrọ̀ báyìí fún mùtúmùwà kọ́bapẹ́ town randa òṣèlè àti ọ̀yọ́ dam 100,000 ní báyìí òṣèlè gúúsì estate phase 1 sábòṣèlè kẹ́tìtún randa island phase 1 300,000 ní lájà àbálẹ̀ ilẹ̀ sí ibẹ̀ káàkiri abẹ́òkúta bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ilé oko wọn kọ́bapẹ́ òṣèlè alábàtà mọlọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ 50,000 ní plọ́ọ̀tì kan bẹ́ẹ̀ bára plọ́ọ̀tì mẹ́ta ẹgbàá ìdajì sí bó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra odidi kan lẹ́gbàá sí 4 Mochud Abiola Way nílé ogoro daily express furniture gan-an wà lábẹ́òkúta 08033086557 08033086557 bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń gbé ìgbésẹ̀ dandan ni kẹ́ ẹ tẹ̀síwájú lórí àwọn àfojúsùn yín. ogúnjọ́ oṣù kẹta tá a wà yìí láǹfààní yóò.
The Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, invites all government agencies, security organizations, diplomatic corps, corporate and private organizations that use radio frequency spectrum licensed by the ministry and all users and vendors of walkie-talkies to the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy's 2-day radio frequency monitoring week. Date, 14th March 2022. Roadshow at Alaba International Market and Environs, Lagos. 15th March 2022, Stakeholders Forum with the theme Effective Approaches to Radio Frequency Spectrum Monitoring. Venue, Digital Bridge Institute, former Old Nitel Training School, Oshodi, Lagos. For inquiries, call 0803-438-0296. For remote participation, visit www.comtech.gov.ng. Announcer, A.A. Ladan for Permanent Secretary.
Panorama.
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 Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back. It's Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM, the Integrity Station. We are just finishing up with our issue of the day, taking your comments and questions on social media. We've gotten Farmer Ayokwo to grant us a few more minutes so that he can answer some of the questions you have. Gwega, you were taking us through Facebook. Yes,
let me quickly run through the rest of the comments on Facebook. Oluwadamilala Bande Matthew said, well done, Farmer Ayokwo. For everyone, Agro Wealth Minder is proud of you. Nuruddin Larry Yusuf, I guess these are maybe some of your friends or colleagues. AY Circle said, thumbs up to you. Tiami Yurashi said, good morning, Splash. Goegan Lola and the guests that represent we farmers in the house. I want to totally agree with the guests in the submission. Just the area of farmers are being cheated is the only one I won't agree with. Moreover, I want to emphasize that Nigerian farmers have not really unlocked the potentials, particularly in poultry farming. One, fertilizer production. All the poultry byproducts should be used as fertilizer and reduce importation. Agbo Samuel said, food is an essential part of man and must not be toyed with. We all saw what transpired during the COVID lockdown. We must not wait till we are eventually hit by this predicted alarm in food production. All stakeholders and government should work in synergy so as to manage this imminent food issue. Those are the comments on Facebook.
On Twitter, Shofalola says, regardless of the fact that being cheated is a major setback of an average farmer, being cheated is far more better than being injured or killed. Denying farmers from selling directly to foreigners is worse than genocide. You now won't kill farmers, Abi. Just imagine, farmers can't access single-digit loan or credits. Farmers have to battle insecurity on their own, and justice is far from being reached. Farmers have to sort out how to market their produce on their own without any concrete input from government. Okay. They left leprosy trying to cure eczema. Instead of empowering and supporting farmers to expand and increase their produce, they are making political statements in the name of policies. Anyway, every law has its own lacuna, he says. Ofemi says, good morning to the Panorama crew and guest. I think your guest is not being patriotic and self-centered. A problem has been identified and solution given. When the federal government shut borders, heaven did not fall. So if the government is serious about it, so be it. The prediction by Dangote is worrisome. Bold and radical steps need to be taken to avert the looming food scarcity. I think the government should stop paying lip service to agriculture and start doing the needful. Again, it depends on the commodity. Some items cannot be stopped from being sold to foreigners, like pork, which your guest mentioned. Agricultural produce mostly consumed by people should be banned from being sold to foreigners. We must save our country despite bad governance. He finishes off with, it's no more news how woeful the government has performed, especially in agriculture, but we can also do something to make it better. It is just sad that when you hear people talk, you wish to have them in government, but when they get to government position, they become something else. Patriotism has been trashed. Now on to WhatsApp, where Olajuwa says, why are we not having people like Farmer Shomefun handling the various portfolios in government? This is what we are talking about, that our politicians will rather see the masses suffer because of their parochial interest than do the needful. Just as your guest has spoken, and I agree totally with him, that he is first an Ijeja man and an Abeokuta man before being a Nigerian. This is the truth of the matter, basically because our leaders have not shown any patriotism that goes beyond their pockets. I would like Ogun State government to put Farmer Shomefun, he wants to join your campaign team, to work so that we can have food sufficiency in Ogun State and by extension Nigeria. He says, this next comment is from Ishaya Tunde from Bodeolude, who says, good morning. I really appreciate your guest. Pronouncement made by Aliko Dangote. Do you see our government at all level being proactive to prevent the capacity ahead or being ignored? I think this one is a question, but let me hold that in one hand and take Akinwale from Camp's comment, who says, about fuel, I walked into 2 of the filling stations at Camp yesterday and bought at 190 naira per litre. Growing up in the village, my grandpa prefers to sell his cocoa to those coming directly from Lagos. My grandma would transport her oranges and cola directly to Lagos. Why did they not sell to the local buyers in the village? It was because they felt cheated by them. FEC has only opened up the avenue for our farmers to be cheated by local buyers. I'm very sure of that. Furthermore, as I am used to telling everyone around me when we discuss along this line, Nigeria is the most blessed of nations, blessed nation of the world, good climate, good soil, high population, high workforce, 4th largest in the world. Yet, we have to depend on import of some food. Are we not ashamed of ourselves? I'm sorry to say, shame on us. What contributions have our 3 federal universities of agriculture in Nigeria made? What has happened to farm settlements across Nigeria? How many primary and secondary schools still have gardens? Can't we explore acts like those of Ikiti, Okeogun, and Akwa Ibom people, who on the average have a garden behind their houses and even have another bigger farm somewhere else? I'll come back to this Yoruba quotes when I feel I can handle it. Akinwale from Camp. This next comment says, good morning, Splash. Actually, when you see a professional that knows what he's doing, analyze issues, you will be very happy. You didn't include your name. Okay, I can see it in your earlier text. I give kudos to our guest. May God increase you in knowledge. I'm not always happy with the government empowering youth to oppress more people in the society. They empower people to oppress rather than what's good to develop the society. Go across the streets in our state here, you will see a lot of youths relent on daily money, ticket money, instead of engaging them to do what's right for development. Was sent in by Ademoye Adegoke from Onikolobo. And finally, Nicholas says, oligarchs from Dangote to Roman Abramovich are only concerned when their profits appear threatened. Emphasis should be focused on shattering the bottlenecks to production. But Emefiele does not control the agricultural sector. Israel exports wheat with just River Jordan. Meanwhile, Ogun River is longer than River Jordan, yet Eforiro is scarce. That's what Nicholas says. Okay, so back to the question asked by Ishaya Tunde as we wrap up. He said, do you see our government being proactive to stop the scarcity being predicted?
Yes. Provided they listen to people on the field, we can solve the problem.
And what are your final thoughts as well?
My final thoughts is, as a listener listening to me, go to any market and make sure you find all your used tire, jerry cans, grow something. within your house, especially vegetable. In Abeokuta, we consume over 40 million naira vegetable on a weekly basis. I think I've given the statistics here before. That's number one. Number two, let all of us keep talking to government in our various ways. All the forums I belong to, I always make sure I hear my view. Then number three, let all of us try and once we're there, do something to make Nigeria better. Either praying for Nigeria like we used to pray, or encouraging the right people to get into power. But basically, we should all be prepared. We should all be prepared that food prices are going to increase. We cannot stop that now.
All right. You just had to end it on that note.
I wish I could have asked you how we can grow stuff, because it's easier said than
You
done.
can bring me back. I can give you a template of how to grow over 20 crops off head, and it can be implemented anywhere in the state.
Okay, maybe
We'll
we'll do
explore that
that. We'll
possibility in the
explore that.
future.
Because I do have space that can take tires in my house.
Same,
Maybe I'll
same.
start
Jerry cans. You can use your jerry can,
vegetables
your tire, your sack,
Buckets.
buckets. You can use them to grow crops. And just all that.
All right. We'd like to appreciate Farmer Yopo Shomefun for your time. It was a late notice, despite just returning from abroad. You still found time to. And did you eventually take a bike to?
I took a bike from Itaoshi for 700 naira to get here.
Wow. He had to pack his card so that he can make it in time for the program. But we appreciate you very much for your time this morning. We'll explore the possibilities of bringing you back, like you said. But thank you very much.
I thank you too for having me this morning.
Thank you for the wealth of knowledge you've shared. We'll take a short break.
Maybe reconsider not selling your maize abroad.
We know that patriotism is psychological, as Nicholas says, but I mean, Nigeria is all we've got. So.
Yes.
All right. We'll be back after this time out. Please stay with us.
Panorama.
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 Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
Welcome back to Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. Well, some offer discussions as regards Agric, and it looks like Lola is really interested in Agric.
Super interested.
Maybe Lola will go back to the farm.
I've always thought that, like, even when you see people with land, more often than not, you see them living a barren or, as he said, populating it with flowers. I think it's more of a culture. Maybe it's because we live in the city anyway, but as he said, you can easily get a jerry can or some other container to grow okra, vegetables, maybe nothing very complicated, but some of the food items that you eat
you can consume.
Yes, on a daily basis.
And we have a farmer himself also joining us for this segment of the program.
Well, that's a dimension to society I didn't know was.
He's a farmer.
I am. I'm a honeybee farmer.
Then Pamela.
Wow, a man of many talents. But today he'll be sharing his broadcasting or journalism talent with us as our analyst on From the Pages. We'll be looking at the papers, bringing you the headlines, going a little deeper. And of course, all through this, you can comment on social media where we're broadcasting, streaming live on Facebook, streaming on Twitter Space, and let us know what you think. I have Nigerian Tribune.
I have the Vanguard newspaper.
From Nigerian Tribune, the lead story as diesel hits 720 naira, man cries to federal government. How federal government plans to reverse fuel scarcity. That's what the presidency says. LCCI, Russia-Ukraine crisis, Nigerians may experience worsening food prices. Looks like that prediction is not just from Dangote. NDLEA arrests General Overseer with drugs at Lagos Airport, seizes 40 parcels of cocaine, others at Apapa Port. PDP replies Buhari and APC, saying you exhibit arrogance in failure. On APC CECPC drama, odds favor Buni. This says why APC is rethinking opposition to his leadership. APC governors regrouping behind him. Mustafa says, let us take heed to Buhari's admonition. Sani Musa says, my plans for women and youths. After 7 years together, I have no issues with Buhari. Oshibajo says, on terrorism, Nigeria will win CDS Irabo. In 2023, capacity to tackle insecurity must be considered along with zoning, Saraki says. He's making a return in the newspapers. Stakeholders say why federal government must prevent another indefinite ASU strike. Those are the headlines.
On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, 1 trillion naira inflow set to escalate excess cash in banks. With the rider, interest rate decline will persist. Dealers. Scarcity, why we give priority to foreign airlines, aviation fuel marketers. Manufacturers send SOS to FG as diesel price hits 730 naira per litre. This one especially keeps me up at night.
We know why.
Keeps me up at night. OPL 245, no evidence that Doke took bribe. JP Morgan counters federal government in UK court. APC crisis, Buhari saves Buni with the riders. Buni to conduct national convention. National chairmanship race thrown open. I didn't exonerate Abba Kyari. I only asked for further investigation. Malami 2023. Oshimbajo is running, but still consulting. It looks like he's running a marathon. That's according to a source. UTAS, Asufle's FG's claim of failing integrity test. Power chased me. I didn't chase it. That's according to OBJ. U.S. journalist shot dead in Ukraine, another wounded. APC blast Wike over utterances against Mai with the rider launches onslaught against 3 PDP governors. Energy crisis. Gencos blame 1.64 trillion naira debt for low power supply. Mele Kyari should be appreciated. Tanko Yakasai. Well, tells that to us when we're on the queue trying to get fuel. But let's get to the details of all of these stories now. Some analysis here. I think we should start with this one. Manufacturers send SOS to FG as
The
diesel
one keeping
price.
you up at night.
It does, and I'm sure it probably keeps Eddie up at night as well because of the peculiarity in this regard. As diesel price hits 730 naira per litre, and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria yesterday sought an urgent intervention from the federal government to support the production of goods as diesel price hits 720 to 730 naira per litre. Well, diesel is deregulated, so how exactly can the federal government or government across all levels help in this regard? Because manufacturers are complaining, and it looks like the consumers will be the ones to bear the brunt at the end of the day.
And I want to ask as well, why it's taking this long for, from what I know, the price of diesel has been climbing
for a long time,
for months now. Why is it taking this long? Whereas with fuel scarcity, you saw the instant outcry, the instant people complaining and groaning about the prices, but diesel has been rising for 3 months. Why is it taking so long for it to, for people to start to complain?
Well, sadly, Nigeria is in a fix, because if you talk of diesel price, reaching 720, companies are affected. Broadcasting houses are affected. And that's why my brother doesn't sleep at night, just like me too. I mean, some stations spend 2 million a month. How much do we generate? We operate within the same market. But unfortunately, Nigeria is in a fix because even the ones that are helping, to refine crude, although illegally, they've stopped all that. In fact, so many of them, about 27 different ones, illegal refiners, that have been helping with diesel. I've been taking off although you talk of environmental, hazard and what have you. But at least in a way, they have been helping, to attenuate, to reduce it considerably. So you can't eat your cake and have it. You are not bringing this diesel in. You see, unfortunately, diesel is a byproduct, and that's the saddest part of it. There are 14 byproducts, of this petroleum thing that we are refusing, to refine. So you have diesel there, you have motor oil, kerosene, and so many others that we use, grease. And so once you refuse to refine, you lose all this, and that's what we are facing at the moment. How can the government help? This is a government that has problem with subsidy for petroleum. In fact, I recall your guest said he spent 700 naira to get there. Incidentally, yesterday too, because I didn't have I spent 600 naira to get here. So it is sad, that we are in this, this flux, this bind, and I'm not sure government will be ready to help because it's been deregulated. And unfortunately, the more the price increase, abroad, we're going to be getting the negative side of it here. Ordinarily, we should be getting the positive side of it because I think it's about $131, dollars now, per barrel. And ordinarily, we should be smiling to the banks, but we are not smiling to the banks because you import all these things. You talk about vessel, transportation, the cost of the diesel itself, and what have you. And even bringing this diesel in, how many companies have opportunity to bring it in? It's only NNPC, that can bring it in. And those who are able to bring it in, they will now have to pay. They have to take the money. They have to charge the price that will get them there. So it's a big problem on the neck of the federal government. In fact, if care is not taken, so many companies will have to fold up. There is no doubt about that. 2 years ago, in fact, this same man, the Yusuf man, that spoke, Muda Yusuf, said 279 companies folded up in Lagos owing to COVID-19 and the economic situation. More will have to join. Then the problem of government will be compounded because you have more crime in the society.
Right.
You have, the actual thing is there. So it's a big problem on the neck of it. What can government do? I don't know. Unless government is able to bring diesel in a large quantity. In fact, so many media houses may have to, either retrench because you can't pay salaries.
Right.
Yeah.
Or cut down their hours.
Cut down the hours. And
so the people will lose.
And the society, suffers too. So it's a whole lot of, it's a cyclical circle thing. And if government does not think out of the box, especially because of, the employment aspect of it, we will continue to, grope in the dark. And once a mistake has been made, even the people, NSC spoke 2 days ago. Yes, government must fix the refineries. How does government fix the refineries? The refineries that you have spent $19 billion, dollars on, and nothing has come out of it. So I don't know who is going to do it. I don't know who is going to. I don't know what government will do.
Right.
But government has to do something fast if they don't want the unemployment problem, the closure of companies, or companies moving out. All Shell, all those companies, Mobil, ExxonMobil, most of them have moved out, even to small countries, because of this electricity situation is bad, is contributing to it. If the electricity were okay, most of these companies will still be on. But because there is no electricity, they depend on on diesel, and this diesel is not available.
And the rising diesel cost is also coming at a time when the GENCOs and the IBDC and the likes are also having challenges because
They claim it's
Yeah,
because of the electricity subsidy that was removed.
Exactly. And
And
one
the
point,
season.
even in the about 4 days ago, I read in the papers that they had to contend with less than two megawatts.
2,000.
Yeah, 2,000, less than 2,000 megawatts for the whole country. And we are refusing to do, even in the fifth alteration we are doing, we are already in place now. Why can't the federal government allow the states to generate their electricity? I recall in 1983, the minister that came, from the federal, to come and see Ogun-Osun, to come and witness what was going on in Ogun-Osun. I was detailed by the NTA, to follow him and report him for network news. And we found out that Ogun-Osun can generate electricity for Abeokuta and its environs, or and all the rest of them. But nobody has tapped. I'm talking of 1983. Nobody has seized that opportunity because the states are not allowed, to generate electricity. Even the leeway given to them now, you have even attached it to the national grid. Why can't they do it? Why can't the states, generate their electricity, and people will pay for it? But now you are holding the hands of the state government. You are not devolving power to them, and when you are devolving power to them, you are holding another hand. You are holding hands back. So it's a whole. We are in a mess.
But there's also a related story here. Scarcity why we give priority to foreign airlines, aviation fuel marketers. I will read just one paragraph. Aviation fuel marketers in the country have given insight into why they give priority to foreign airlines as against the local airlines, saying since the foreign airlines pay for Jet A1 in dollars, most marketers quickly sell to them to get dollars to import more. Well, it also points to what Farmer Shemefa said.
Yes, it's so sad. Well, we are after the comfort. We are after the dollars. We are not after the comfort of Nigerians, and that is very, very unpatriotic. But you won't blame them. No, I won't blame them. If I were a businessman yes.
Well, someone did say, "What is the reward in being patriotic?"
Exactly.
What
exactly. Especially in a country like Nigeria, in other climes, in other countries, yes, there are rewards for being patriotic. One of the people who even gave us the wordings of the flag, or even who designed the flag and all that, what has happened to them? We don't reward, patriotism in Nigeria. We don't reward hard work and all that. It's so sad. So, yes, well, people who have to travel within Nigeria, and unfortunately, even the roads are bad. I would have loved the situation whereby there is a level playing ground for all of us. Now we have to go by road, so that the ministers and everybody will feel the pinch of what the common man is feeling. But unfortunately, their own jet one or whatever, will be procured. Right. They have to move. Our president is in Britain now, and I'm sure the aircraft will be there, hanging on the
regardless of whatever aviation
fuel. Hangar. It will be there, wasting away. And you can imagine to maintain an aircraft for one day, a lot of money. And that's what, some people feel, that they don't feel what we feel. And that's the reason why they are behaving the way they are behaving.
Right. The one thing I find interesting is that when you take any issue and analyze it, often behind that issue is an assortment of many other issues.
Yes.
See, now we started with the diesel problem. Somehow we touched on the electricity sector.
Right.
Electricity subsidy, power generation being low. We found ourselves talking about, the dollar.
The dollar, yeah.
Right. Forex, because part of the reasons the aviation fuel marketers are giving is because dollar is in such high demand that they would rather sell to the foreign airlines than to sell to Nigerians. We found ourselves talking about infrastructure. So can one fix any one issue in Nigeria in isolation? We've even talked about the refineries that aren't working.
Right. Yes, not working.
There you go. Can one fix any one issue in Nigeria in isolation without, taking them all at the same time?
Of course, they are connected.
Because, for example, one could say this electricity sector one is still related to infrastructure. One of this administration seems to laud itself very much for its infrastructural feats. The railways, a lot. The railways, the roads, and that is maybe, they have been measurable progress in that regard. But is it really making any impact if it's offset by all these other issues that we're looking at?
Lola, if you look at the utilitarian values, of all these things we have been mentioning, power is the first and foremost of all of them. And since we have not been able to have a hang on power, supply of power. 62 years. I mean, we are going to 62 years in October, and nothing. There's nothing tangible on the ground. And it's because, like we have always repeated here, because our leaders cannot think out of the box. Egypt, within 2 years, spent only $9 billion to get 20 megawatts, of electricity. Just within 2 years, which means this government has spent, is going to 8 years now. If we had wanted to improve it, that's another thing entirely. What of industrialization? Because we are talking of the interconnectivity between all these issues.
Right.
Now, we don't, industrialization, there is no country that doesn't, our own Ajaokuta is wasting away. Go and imagine the amount of money spent on Ajaokuta. This government promised to do something, and the government is folding up next year. It has not happened. When you don't have, you don't have an industrial base, when you don't, your Ajaokuta, all those things they manufacture, the Osogbo steel and all the rest. We import all these things. You import with dollars, and you don't even have something to back those imports. It's only oil. It's the only thing generating about 90% of all these things for us. And besides, is the fact that the amount of money you've gotten so much debt. We've accumulated so much debt, and you pay 90% of whatever is even coming in. And what coming in from what sources? Agriculture. It's only services. All these telecommunications and what have you. So they are interconnected. But there is the one that I believe we can do. We need a leader to say, yes, this is the way we are going to go. Give me 4 years, I'm going to give you electricity. Give me 4 years, I'm going to fix Ajaokuta. Just somebody who has that guts, who has that zeal, to say, okay, I am going to do that vision. We don't have. That's the problem. I mean, I'm not castigating any government, but within this, apart from the structural thing you talked about, infrastructural thing you talked about, even some of the roads are not fixed. I mean, can you travel to Abuja from Abeokuta to Abuja? Even one rail? No. What is the real thing we are even talking about? When you are even taking another one to Maradi, Niger State, Niger Republic. So I'm not. Some people, yes, they've done something in that direction, but has not covered the entire country for you and I to feel it.
Ironically, over the weekend there were reports of a train down
on the road. Yes.
Lack of it ran out of diesel. Said
ran out of diesel. What of the vandalization going on there? I mean, what of the vandalization going on in some of the even along Abuja, Kaduna? I mean, they had to stop because some of those tracks have been removed. So what can be fixed? We need a leader to fix, to say yes, this is the way to go. We need a leader that will put people in check, to ensure that all these monies that we are getting from somewhere
right.
does not.
Eddie, I know we've lingered quite a bit on this story, but my final question is this administration, the Muhammadu Buhari administration, a victim of bad timing, or perhaps more than ever, this shows how Nigeria is ill-prepared for unexpected occurrences? This is the Russia-Ukraine war is the second global event that would affect Nigeria.
Yes.
With these predictions of food crisis, the spike in diesel, all these are related to the Russia-Ukraine war. We have the COVID-19 and the lockdown. We saw how globally it affected countries. Now, many countries are recovering, they took hits, their economy took hits, but Nigeria more so. So is the Muhammadu Buhari administration a victim of bad timing? Because these are no events we could have helped. But or is it showing us how we are ill-prepared with our reserves, with our policies for, these kind of events?
You see, our president, with all sense of responsibility, is surrounded by people who are not telling him what the situation really is, or people who cannot really, pop up this nation, who cannot push the nation, towards. Okay, take any venture, take any area. Are you talking of oil, of which is the prime, of which is the substantive minister? Are you talking of agriculture? In fact, the agric man had to be removed. Something another person has been put there. Tell me, tell me any sector. Are we talking of power? What has happened to it? Although there is a belief that in this country, when the president comes in to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, there is a kebab that will work and bring it down. Why is it impossible? Why has it been impossible in the last 7 years to bring instability down? In fact, if you listen to what is happening in the north, Niger State, Kaduna, kidnapping, banditry, and you begin to ask, although the military is telling us, yes, we have sent them, to some of them have moved, to Chad and what have you also, but we continue to see this thing on daily basis. We see evidence of misrule or misgovernment, that people can. I mean, if you have banditry, you have people kidnapping. You see, I mean, it's so incredible. So the question is, what has been happening? Why has Buhari, who promised $40, he promised that what is in? I mean, we'll sell oil at 40. What has prevented him from doing that? What has prevented us from being self-sufficient in food production? What has prevented power, electricity, from improving? The question is, when a leader cannot identify people who can really work with him. Yes, I know he's been able to do. It took him 6 months, to even appoint the minister, But what has come out from those appointments? What we have now is selfish individuals, who are not looking at the nation. What has happened to education? So look at those areas and you imagine what the president is contending with, but part of it is his own undoing. Because when you look at Soludo, I'm not saying Soludo is going to come out finer than the president. But Soludo has come out with a team already. They are working. I bet you. So Soludo will shock the nation in Anambra State. So you need somebody who will have a hang on it and say, okay, yes, this is my vision. These are the things I'm going to put.
So you're judging Soludo by the quality of his transition committee?
No. He has performed. I mean, his trajectory as a governor of a central bank, as advisor to Obasanjo, they did so many things. And Obasanjo, in fairness to him, brought in some technocrats who performed. Okonjo Iweala, Soludo, and so many of them that he brought in. It's a Equisili or whatever.
But there are also people that people commend in the president's cabinet, like, Serwani or President. Yes.
No, Riwani.
Economic advisory.
Oh, what has become of our economy? To go and tell that to so many Nigerians. What has become of our? Yes, I know Abdoyi and all the rest of them. Is that what you are talking about? Is the government even listening to them? I don't believe the government is listening to them. If the government is listening to them, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Well, we've lingered quite a bit on that story, but really these are issues that affect us. And that headline I took earlier about what the Gencos are saying, the story even has it that transmission has even fallen more, and generation has plummeted to 1,393 megawatts.
Yeah, less than 2,000.
And that's what we're all sharing.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're all seeing the effects. We've been having very epileptic power supply. The last few weeks.
Let's even look at how this team was put together. So one of them confessed. He said, we shared it amongst ourselves. That was one PDP guy said, we shared this. Because when you want to bring in people like that, there are Siemens there. You have people who have the money. They have the technical expertise. They have the wherewithal. They have a trajectory experience of having done it somewhere. But you sold it to people who have nothing to do about it. In fact, Asuman or Shodekeri said something like that you sold the power generating company or so whatever. You after the sharing them, dividing them, you are now still giving them money to run the place. Where is it done? Where is it done that you sold the thing? The only thing that have been sold in this country that is succeeding is telecommunication. Every other thing had not succeeded at all because they are not given to the right people at the right time. And until we do it, even you go and look at what is it that we have privatized that has worked apart from telecommunication. What is it that, because we don't give it to the right people? That's why at times they even generate the supply, but the people who cannot run it. One is the transmission line that we have been using since 1960s is what we are still using. Somebody else, a government would have said, okay, these transmission lines are antiquated, are old. Let's just rejig them. Let's renew them. 1 year. Let's run them around the country.
All right. Well, let's look at ASU. The 1 month warning strike that they gave to the federal government is running out today, and the Academic Staff Union of Universities doesn't seem like it will be calling it off. Going by all indications, it says here, barring any last-minute change of heart on the part of ASU, Nigeria's public universities will be plunged into another needless, prolonged industrial action as a 1 month warning strike embarked on February 14th comes to an end without reasonable progress on the resolution of the dispute. We've seen meetings between the federal government and ASU that have, ended in a stalemate of sorts. I think you've said, or I'm not sure if it's you or one of the analysts have said that we should follow Professor Soyinka's advice that we should give 2 years to the universities. But I mean, our students are home. What is to become of this strike?
Lola, the latest I read before I entered the studio is that they have extended it to 2 months now. That was the decision taken yesterday in Lagos. So ASU is going to be on strike for 2 months, extra 2 months. And in fact, if you look at the disadvantages, the demerits, they are so immense that we cannot contemplate it. And sadly, according to the president of NANS or whatever, the man said, those who are plunging us, in fact, even ASU members will take their money. Despite the strike, yes, we take their salaries and they are being paid. The ministers are being paid. Are you talking of education? Are you talking of finance? Are you talking of Ngigi and all the rest of them labor? They'll take their money. But they are students. They stay in. In fact, since 1981, ASU, Nigerian students have lost 4 years in ASU strike, if cumulatively. 4 years. Then not only that, they rent houses, and those for 9 months. In fact, the last time in it was 9 months. Right. They lost the money there. Apart from that, the parents suffer a lot, and because they cannot think about it. Then most of them go to Togo, Benin Republic, Ghana, all those countries that cannot meet. They cannot meet the standard of any of our universities here. But those ones give them, because they have this academic time that they follow, academic calendar.
Are you sure they don't meet the standard of our universities here? The universities in these other countries?
Maybe Ghana, not Benin Republic, not Togo. Maybe some of them. No, maybe some of them. No, let's look at the standards of our education. Maybe, but the fact remains that we spend millions or billions of dollars to send our children there. Parents send there for what kind of education are we talking about? Then academic calendar, they lose. Rent, they lose. Crime, most of them go into crime, into prostitution and all that. And it affects even the standard of education, because the lecturers will insist that the curriculum must be met or it must be finished. And so they rush it. What do they internalize? What do the students internalize and all that? In the final analysis, you have a group of people who are not willing to help. Although they are saying UTAS is not reliable, according to Pantami and NITDA.
Right.
That it doesn't meet integrity. No, so many of those arguments. They are, and allowance. Not only that, when they are promoted, promotion arrears, they are not paid. Whereas once promotion is made in the ministries and parasitic and agencies, immediately whoever is affected. I was there for years in Federal National Broadcasting Commission. I know it's paid as at and when once you are promoted.
Instantly.
They have problems with that. Not only that, visitation panel sent because of the condition of universities. They have not paid anyone. Although Ngigi is saying they have spent 30 billion, on universities and on allowance, and they have spent 32 billion on the Institute 2009 agreement that talks about revitalizing the universities. But ASU is saying it does not meet what they need and all that. So, but what is paining ASU really is the fact that 1 week after they promised to be off for 1 month, if we have leaders who love education, who believe that this problem ought to be resolved, if they had called them and put something tangible on the ground, that they are parents too. Some of them have children, some in these public universities. although there's an argument, and I think that is one thing we must go into and revisit. There is one pro-chancellor that says you don't have to deal with ASU directly. We are the board, we are the Senate. Let us deal with teachers, because that is what is done in the US. The university deals with the teachers directly. This is the amount we are going to pay you. This is your course work. This is what you have to read and all that. But here in Nigeria, it's an open thing. So whereby they run the same system, universities are established, at will, and there is a problem with that, So they are saying all kinds of arguments, but the fact remains that when two elephants fight, it's the grad that suffers. The parents suffer this time around. The society will suffer this time around another 2 months if care is not taken.
All right. Because of our time, let's merge these two stories together. Osinbajo is running, but still consulting. That's according to a source. Please note that the vice president himself has not come out to say this, but according to the Vanguard this morning is quoting a source, and with the rider says VP won't flout the law. APC State Party chairman divided over Osinbajo's summon. And not forgetting APC crisis, Buhari saves Buni to conduct national convention, national chairmanship race thrown open. So these two issues, let's quickly.
The Buni issue, the APC has no option than to bring Buni back. Whatever may have happened, whether he was sacked or he decided to go for a checkup, a health check in UAE or whatever, that is the only option left for APC. Because there are some governors that love Buni today because it's doing their bidding, and there are some of them who don't like it. Like the El-Rufai, the Ogbeni of Ondo is saying even those who prefer Buni are Yahoo, governors and all that. That's his statement. Fine. So APC has no option because INEC has already said this is the man we are going to recognize. So they will run foul of the law. Recall what happened to them in Zamfara. They have no candidate, and Zamfara all went to PDP. Now back to APC by crossing over. Look, remember what happened in the River State. APC did not have any candidate, and they lost out because of this non-observance of INEC. So that's the problem. With Osinbajo is walking a tightrope. Yes, according to the papers, there are about 702 different groups who are rooting for Osinbajo. Good, no problem about that. And I know, although the CAN or RCCG have denied it, but it's part of why they are now establishing a division for politics, and governance. So members can rally around. Don't forget, there was a time when the one board, is it the CAC, decided that they have to be changing and all that. And when they coughed, that is RCCG and all the rest, the government has to change gear. And say, okay, no, that's not it, because they know the number of members that they control, not only in Nigeria, globally. So Osinbajo was walking a tightrope because of so many factors. It was because of Tinubu that this Oshiomhole thing happened. And now that this Oshiomhole removal, but what has it brought again? They've not been able to do any convention. Now they are fixed February 26th with divisions. State chairman, some of them were giving papers, giving certificates. Whereas in each state you have counter bodies, especially governors who already have led for the Senate and still want to contest with the governors there. But Buni has joined, has put aside, he has supported those governors, who are serving governors. That's another problem on his own. And there are factions, and they are saying we are already even in court. We are already in court. So that you are going to have a convention or that you have given certificates to some state chairman is contempt of court. So they have all kinds of problems. Is president supporting anybody? Yes. Is president supporting anybody? That problem is there. And I've said it even in this studio that if care is not taken, APC may unravel. But for the VP is his son. Then he's a professor of law. He knows the law that he cannot campaign now. And being in government, he cannot come out to say, okay, I want to run. But bet you, the man is going to run because there are so many people who are rooting for him. And as there are also so many people who are rooting for Tinubu. So and so also some of them.
All right. Let's see if we can take one or two calls and comments on social media as well. Let's start with this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I am Sunday calling from Abiola Wiki.
Please go ahead.
I want to comment briefly on the ASU issue and the purported extension. I think sincerely it is unfair, very unfair on Nigeria and the Nigerian students. Why did I say so? These are people who are going to collect their salary. The other time they went on strike for 9 whole months. Students were kept at home. They came back and collected their salary. And some of the public commentators today supported them that time. But everything that they are asking about revolves around money. And we know that Nigeria doesn't have the money. We all know that. And the government has told them they don't have the money. So why are we doing it? Second aspect of it, they are complaining about IP. They said they don't want IP, they want quota. How can you determine, how can you tell your employer how to be paid? Where is that done? Not even everywhere in the world. Your employer will decide how they will pay. IP is to ensure that there are no ghost workers. It's being done in the health sector, every other sector. They said they don't want it. And they are insisting on their quotas. And government said, that is one area we are all missing. Government said they have tested quotas, or what do they call it? They said quotas reliability test. Meaning that it is possible to smuggle in names there. I thank God for what Editor Egia said. He said in US, in other places, federal government don't negotiate with the lecturers. Why don't they allow their university to handle it? And by the way, these lecturers, are they not the ones responsible for this falling education standards? The standard of a university graduate, you see, so these are the lecturers who push them out.
All right.
If you not here in Abeokuta, wait. If you're not here in Abeokuta, we are talking of rights. They don't have rights.
Please wrap up your thoughts.
They don't have rights. So what are they doing there? They are just holding the whole nation to ransom. Good morning.
All right. Thank you very much. Angry and, of course,
wait, maybe it's
rightly
a
so
parent.
as well.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
I am Babari.
Babari, good morning.
I want to ask you as regards this ASU officer. Mr. I beg. ASU says they are not really federal government said they should come after that they will negotiate with their MOU of 2000 and whatever. Is it compelling on the government? Because if I draw example, Baba Obasanjo, he told Nigerian refineries. And when Yar'Adua came in, he did not comply, he did not follow that policy. He executed on that policy. Even in America, the Mexican War, and people coming into America that Trump did. When Biden came in, he stopped it. So if the federal government is telling us to, I beg, thing that you said you discussed with the then government in 2009. We don't buy it, go and let us discuss a new MOU. Why is ASU dragging in that regard? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Babari, for your contribution. On Facebook, we have some comments here. Jonathan Adebayo said, well done, sir. Government is a major problem in this country. God blessed us with a lot of natural resources, including crude oil, but with their greediness and selfishness, we don't have a single refinery in a country like this, and I don't think NLC are still functioning. Like Bo Samuel said, I hope the government and the appropriate stakeholders know the implications of keeping the students at home for too long. SANU are coming up with their own demands. Had the government done the needful, we wouldn't have been in this ignominious situation. The students are always the grass and a fight between two elephants, bearing the brunt of this quagmire. We can't continue like this. I think Samuel woke up with a dictionary this morning. But thank you very much for your contribution. There's a picture contained in the Vanguard newspaper of the visit of the Ogun State governor to the Aton Olusaga Agbara Road, saying that it will be completed before by September. And that, I think that's good news for those that fly.
It is.
That
because the argument has been where the money comes from. I mean, that's the
And
egg that
the road
that's
is in such a bad
very
condition.
bad taste.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Nicholas. All right.
Last week, somewhere in Jigawa, a kidnapper named Bunkawi was part of a 6-man kidnapping team. They were paid 20 million naira as ransom. Bunkawi got 200,000 naira. On his way to his boat, the 200,000 naira disappeared. Bunkawi felt so bad. And he remembered that he was even cheated by his kidnapped gang. Bunkawi went to report to the police station. Again, from Aristotle to Aquinas to Augustine to David Hume, utilitarianism was founded on justice. It was founded, that was the foundation of university. That is it. Until we solve this injustice, whether in power, in even our football now, they are injustice. Somebody is very prolific, is spreading goals, there is now somebody in the second division. Until we lose to Ghana, they will not all start going back to the drawing board. Have a nice day.
All right. Thank you very much.
On WhatsApp, Olonsoya Shamsuddin Akorede says, good morning, Ms. Lola Medutani, Mr. Boy Galani, and the visitor in the studio. I'm okay. He's sending this in from Kim Taidiaba. He says it's a pity with the situation we find ourselves in the country. What caused all this, for God's sake? Masses are now getting it difficult before eating, while those they voted for keep on enjoying every day. Anyway, may Almighty Allah please heal our nation from this serious sickness, he says. On to the next comment now from Akinwale from Camp, who says, I said shame on us the other time. I'm still repeating it, shame on us. Imagine we have enough water bodies in this country. We generate enough waste that can be used to generate power, which is bioelectricity. We have enough sunlight, especially in the northern part of the country, solar power. Why are we still generating less than 2,000 megawatts? Who has bewitched us as a nation? Even if we can't come up with novel ways of doing things, can't we just copy from countries with working systems and refine it to suit us? Sometimes I wonder if I was sent to the wrong country of the world. I don't want to regret my birth into this country. As we're on strike, we export petroleum only to import PMS and not get the other byproducts. The son of a butcher eating bones like bingo in Olanima Shaun's voice. Village people are actually working hard on our matter in a daily basis. Well, don't know what to say. Take heart, I guess. This comment is from Elder Abiodun from Bode Olude. He says, good morning, Splash FM. Lola, the question you asked, if our guests can answer yes or no about whether this government is ill-equipped to rule Nigeria, it's very, very correct. I don't think we have any hope in this government. My prayer is that God will give us enablement to bear the rest of the time remaining for them to spend. We are tired of them, he says. Finally, Samson U. Joseph says, beautiful morning, my people. Leadership is everything. Believe it or not, if we have good leadership, things will not be this bad. What made Dubai, Israel, etc. better than us? It is not natural resources, but leadership. Let's stop Jare and let's stop blaming ASU. It is well, he says. By the way, update, the Ministry of Education says that they will not enter agreement with ASU under duress and ask ASU to call off the strike so that they can then negotiate. Meanwhile, GENCOs, just as transmission companies are blaming GENCOs are also blaming transmission companies. You know, one is saying generation, one is saying transmission. But we have to go.
We do have to go now. Thank you very much, Farmer Sir Eddie.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you for your time.
Thanks, Lola.
This morning. We'll be back tomorrow, God's willing, on another edition of Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. That will still be myself and Lola Medutani. But my name, meanwhile, is Oyega Olani. Have a great week.
And I remain Lola Medutani. Good morning.
Panorama.
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 Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama on